Hey guys, Emmy Fisher here, and we're doing something different today. As you may know, if you've watched the previous videos, I've been working on that Roman villa on the center map. But I was getting a little bit rained out, to be honest. I like to kind of, depending on what mood I'm in and what environment I want, I switch around the different maps. And what I decided I wanted to do was to restart a game on my Scorched Earth map. Now, I did take video of my previous bases that I built on the first Scorched Earth game I played when I first got it, so that might pop up at some point in time. But I'm the type of person that likes to restart games fairly often, and depending on what maps it is or things like that, I might restart them more often, I might not. I don't really know, but I wanted to restart Scorched Earth, so I restarted Scorched Earth this morning. And what I wanted to build, actually, was something based on the types of sort of Native American ruins that you're going to see around where I live. Now, I was born and raised in Tucson, Arizona. I live a little bit south of there now in a very small rural town. But the natives that lived in the sort of Tucson to Phoenix region are going to be the Hohokam, or Hohokam. They're ancestral Pueblans, and they were known for farming along river systems and digging extensive irrigation canal systems to extend the farmland. And because it's so warm here in southern Arizona, we can get 2, occasionally even 3 growing systems, growing seasons, depending on what you're growing, per year, because our temperature is, our summers are very long and relatively hot, and our winters are very short and relatively mild. It rarely snows or freezes. This year's been a little bit different, but because of that, they were able to really just mass produce large amounts of food using these canal systems. And they built these large sort of pueblos with platform mounds, many rooms, many complexes. I don't really like building huge complexes. I mean, the Roman villa is pretty darn giant for me. I like focusing on small, sort of single-player bases. So what I've got going on here is a small, sort of classical period residential compound for a Hohokam family or group of families. Really quickly, before I show that to you, I'm going to double check on a Doedicurus I've got over here. I just started this game this morning. I've been trying to starve him a little bit so that he tames pretty quick, but I'll just go ahead and stick that on there. And I'll give you an idea of what I've been doing. Now, I took my Morellatops out of the little courtyard there. I have been keeping him sort of in there, him or her, I'm not sure. Normally there'd be this would be sort of closed off. There'd be a gate there, but then I wouldn't be able to stick the Morellatops in there because they can walk between a shape the size of 2 foundations. But if you put a gate on it, they can't get through that. So I've left this open, but normally it would be enclosed in some way for protection. Alright. This is actually based directly on a small residential compound that is at a particular set of ruins between Tucson and Phoenix called Casa Grande, or Casas Grandes. I might make a trip there soon, before it gets too hot. It's already hit I think 90 once, or at least the 80s. But before it gets too hot, and maybe take some video and show you guys really what that looks like. Maybe take some video of the surrounding desert area so you can kind of compare and contrast the Sonoran Desert with what you see going here. Obviously, Scorched Earth is an amalgamation of several different types of deserts from all over the world. So you're going to get Sonoran Desert, you're going to get Mojave Desert, as evidenced by the Joshua trees in the background. You're definitely going to get some influences of, you know, general Southwest America. You're going to get some Sahara in there because of all the sand dunes. You're probably going to get some touches of Australia, but I won't be able to expound too much on that, seeing as I am unfortunately not from Australia. It's on my list. I want to go so bad. Yeah, I might make a video about, you know, the influences there. But basically what I've got going on here is there would have been sort of an L shape on one side, a sort of surrounding, enclosing wall. Additional rooms as needed, and this would have, you know, been for anywhere between 1 to a few families. The doors would have been wood, of course, so I don't have adobe on there. There would have been an extensive use of ladders to reach certain areas. We would have had flat roofs for a couple of reasons. Number one, it doesn't rain a lot. We get less than, I think, 12 inches a year, and that's what sort of constitutes a desert. So flat roofs are going to be perfectly fine because aside from rain twice a year, we have a bimodal precipitation system. That means we get rain in the summer and then we get rain in the winter. Those are the 2 times a year we get rain. In the summer we get the monsoon, which is loosely named after the Indian monsoon. Obviously the Indian monsoon is a lot more powerful and a lot more devastating, but here in southern Arizona, we get some pretty extreme monsoons as well. It can have microbursts and these thunderstorms with lightning, and it can be pretty terrifying. It can cause a lot of damage. But that's only generally in the summer. So you're gonna have these large flat areas with that provides additional outdoor working space, and the buildings themselves would be made out of probably stone, to be honest, bits of stone put together. This is obviously adobe. But depending on the type of civilization you're talking about, or society, it could have been adobe as well. And that was really, really good at keeping cool air in the summer, and then keeping buildings warm in the winter. A lot of houses are still built out of adobe here in the Southwest. And one of the popular styles to build in out here in the Southwest, anyway, are going to be Pueblo styles, based on these original Native American styles. You probably don't get the Pueblo style too much outside of the American Southwest, so if you live in Connecticut, you're definitely going to get more of the sort of Cape Cod style houses and things like that there. But out in the Southwest, we got a lot of Pueblo style houses. Anyway, this would have been for work areas on the outside. There would have been like ramadas up here, sort of little awnings made out of wood, etc. I haven't figured out a way to make it look good yet and not have like wooden pillars sticking through stuff and just sort of throwing off the whole look of the Pueblo. So I might stick the wooden ramadas actually outside the Pueblo, out in the sort of field area, which was definitely a thing. You're definitely going to get sort of ramadas out in the actual fields where they farmed. So I might do that instead. I'll definitely be adding decorations to this as we move on. And I've already got a couple of some little vessels and stuff here. Now the pots wouldn't have looked like this. This is more Greco-Roman, but once again, unmodded Xbox, so we're making do with what we've got. But anyway, this would have provided protection. It would have created a sort of central inner compound, and for me at least, it's a place I can keep my dinosaurs relatively safe, because unless anything happens to come in on that side, nothing's going to get in here to bother them. I'll probably enclose this at some point in time, and I want to extend this wall to make like a big courtyard all the way around the well here, just so I have a place to put my dinosaurs, but then I can enclose this inner area as well. I need to get rid of that. That's a fence foundation back when I was trying to figure out the Ramada issue. But yeah, this is what I've got going so far. A Hohokam residential compound, a couple of families, 1 to a few families that would have been out, probably outside of a larger city or complex. They built huge cities, sort of, I don't know if you would call them cities, but huge complexes on top of these giant platform mounds created by creating sort of outer walls and doing infill with rubble and things like that. And they would build these sort of large complexes on the outside, and you would access it not by some big gate or anything like that. They didn't usually use gates. You'd have to climb up ladders to get down and over, and they'd use hatch frames for For those of you that are wondering where hatch frames really come from in real life outside of ships, Pueblos, Native American Pueblos, definitely used hatch frames so you could access the rooms from above using ladders, because if you were attacked, all you had to do was pull up your ladder, nobody could get into your compound, and then you could fire at the people using bows and arrows or spears or atlatls from above, and they wouldn't be able to reach you. So it was a defensive measure, particularly as you start getting into the period where we have cliff dwellings, like Mesa Verde or Montezuma's Castle or things like that. Now, ignore the little 1x1 starter hut in the background. That was my starter hut this morning. This didn't take all day, but it took a decent few hours. I did make all this adobe by hand. I don't do any cheats for the most part. I dislike doing cheats unless I have to, because I can't get stuff on a map. Like on Extinction, for some reason, I cannot get the Scorched Earth engrams. It says learn in Scorched Earth, and even if I'm in the desert in Extinction, still can't get those engrams, even though they have a whole desert area. So that's really kind of annoying. But yeah, Hohokam Pueblo. Anyway, hit the thumbs up if you liked this episode, and subscribe if you want to look for future episodes. I've got some ideas for how to expand on this, expand on the Roman Villa, and start a couple of new things. I'm looking to move soonly over to Ragnarok. I've got an idea for something I can do there, and I'm just working in that game towards the point where I can actually be mobile, build my raft base, and get to the place where I want to do the next idea I have. But here's a little bit something different, desert-themed Hohokam Pueblo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.